What you call love is not love at all. It is attachment, bondage, possession, and you have been calling it love your entire life. Let me be absolutely clear about this. When you say I love you, look closely, often it hides a wish to possess. And what you call love can quickly become a subtle need to control, to make them yours, to bind them to you, to ensure they don't leave. This is not love. This is fear disguised as love, attachment disguised as affection, ego disguised as tenderness. And unless you see this clearly, you will never know what real love is. You will spend your entire life in relationships that are nothing but prisons. Beautiful prisons, perhaps, decorated with flowers and promises and sweet words, but prisons nonetheless. Let me ask you a simple question. When you love someone, are you possessive? Be honest. Do you feel jealous when they talk to someone else? Do you feel afraid they might leave you? Do you try to control their behavior, their choices, their friendships? If the answer is yes, then what you are experiencing is not love. It is attachment. And attachment is bondage. Listen. Now let me show you how this happens. What you have been calling love is familiar, but it is not love. It feels like love in the beginning because it arrives with warmth, with closeness, with the relief of no longer feeling alone. But relief is not love. Relief is the easing of fear. Attachment begins as comfort. Love begins as clarity. Attachment says, now I am safe. Love says nothing at all. Love does not announce itself. It does not promise anything. It does not guarantee tomorrow. That is why it feels frightening. Watch carefully what happens when two people meet and nothing has been named yet. There is no contract, no expectation, no future to protect. Each moment stands on its own. Words are lighter. Laughter is unguarded. Even silence feels friendly. Nothing is being defended. That undefended space is what people call love. Then, slowly, something shifts. The mind arrives, not dramatically, but politely. It begins asking small questions that seem reasonable. Where is this going? What does this mean? How do I keep this? And the moment keeping becomes important, love has already changed its shape. A woman once came to me in great distress. She said, I don't understand what happened. In the beginning, he adored me. Now everything I do irritates him. I asked her, what changed in you? She thought for a long time and said, I began to expect. Expectation is the beginning of possession. Expectation says, be predictable. Love says, be alive. Once expectation enters, curiosity leaves. You are no longer discovering the other person. You are monitoring them, measuring them, comparing them to an image you carry in your mind. The relationship stops being a meeting. It becomes a maintenance project. People do not fall out of love. They fall into management. This is why jealousy appears so naturally. Not because someone else has done something wrong, but because the image you were protecting has been threatened. Jealousy is not about the other person. It is about the collapse of an illusion. You believed something was yours. Love never believes that. Love knows nothing can be owned. Not a person, not a moment, not even itself. A man once said to me, "But surely love wants closeness." Closeness is natural. Clinging is not. A bird may sit on your hand if you are still. If you close your fist, it flies away. Love is like that bird. People think they lose love because the other changes. They do not see that love leaves the moment fear enters the relationship. Fear says, "What if I am not enough?" Fear says, "What if they find someone better?" Fear says, "What if I'm left behind?" And fear does what fear always does. It tightens. Questions turn into interrogations. Care turns into surveillance. Affection turns into obligation. Nothing dramatic happens. No explosion. Just a slow draining of aliveness. This is why people say, "We are still together, but something is missing." What is missing is freedom. Freedom is the oxygen of love. Without it, love suffocates quietly. Marriage did not invent this problem. Fear did. Marriage simply makes fear respectable. Two frightened people promise not to change and then wonder why life disappears. They call it stability. Stability is useful for buildings. It is lethal for love. A relationship is not meant to be stable. It is meant to be alive. Life moves. Life surprises. Life evolves. When you try to freeze life, it decays. That decay is what people call boredom. And boredom is not the absence of excitement. It is the absence of presence. A relationship without presence becomes routine. A routine becomes duty. Duty becomes resentment. People stay, not because love remains, but because leaving feels more frightening than staying. This is not commitment. This is paralysis. Real commitment has nothing to do with fear. It is a willingness to remain open even when certainty is impossible. That kind of openness cannot be promised. It can only be lived. Love appears only when you stop using the other as an escape from yourself. That is the root of everything. Most people enter relationships to avoid themselves, to avoid silence, to avoid feeling incomplete. They do not want love. They want anesthesia, and love refuses to serve that purpose. Love is not a painkiller. It is a mirror. It shows you your loneliness. It shows you your fear. It shows you your neediness. If you try to use love to cover those things, it will collapse. If you allow love to expose them, it becomes transformative. This is why meditation and love are inseparable. Meditation teaches you how to be with yourself without escaping. Love teaches you how to be with another without possessing. They are the same lesson expressed in different directions. When you can sit alone without feeling abandoned, you stop demanding that another person rescue you. When you stop demanding rescue, love becomes possible. Only then does love move from attachment to freedom. Only then does it stop asking and start giving. Only then does it stop clinging and start flowing. Fear always imagines loss before it happens. Love never does. This is one of the simplest ways to see the difference. A man once came to me deeply disturbed. He said, "Osho, I cannot sleep. I am constantly afraid." I asked him, "Afraid of what?" He hesitated, then finally said, "I am afraid my wife will fall in love with another man." I asked, "Has she?" "No," he said quickly. "She has given me no reason to doubt her." "Then why are you afraid?" He looked confused. He said, "Because it could happen." That single sentence revealed everything. Love does not live in what could happen. Fear does. I asked him, "Do you love your wife?" He said, "Very much." I asked, "Then why do you want her incapable of love?" He stared at me. I said, "If she can love only you, that is not love. That is limitation." He protested. "But if she loves someone else, I will be destroyed." I said, "Then your love is not love, it is dependence." The man wanted reassurance. He wanted a method. He wanted a guarantee. I gave him none. I said, "If she falls in love with someone else, you will suffer. Yes, but suffering from truth is better than comfort from illusion." Love does not demand exclusivity as protection. It invites freedom as proof. If someone stays with you freely, knowing they could leave at any moment, that staying has meaning. If someone stays because they are afraid to leave, it has none. This frightens the ego. The ego wants possession. It wants certainty. It wants fences around people. Love removes fences. Love says, "Be fully alive, even if it costs me." That courage is rare. That is why real love is rare. Most people want safety, not truth. They want promises, not presence. They want reassurance, not aliveness. So they shrink their partners without noticing. They discourage curiosity. They punish independence. They reward predictability. And then they complain that passion has died. Passion dies where freedom is punished. Love cannot breathe where fear sets rules. Another man once told me proudly, "My wife tells me everything." I asked why. He smiled. "Because we trust each other." I said, "Or because she's afraid not to." Trust does not require confession. Trust does not demand transparency. Trust allows privacy. Fear wants access. Fear says, "If I know everything, I will feel safe." Safety has nothing to do with love. Love is comfortable with mystery. The moment you feel threatened by mystery, attachment has begun. People believe intimacy means removing all boundaries. It does not. Intimacy means meeting without invading. It means closeness without collapse. Two beings remain whole while touching. Attachment merges. Love meets. Merging destroys individuality. Meeting enhances it. This is why couples often lose themselves. They stop being individuals. They become units, functional, efficient, dead. Love does not want efficiency. Love wants aliveness. Aliveness is messy, unpredictable, sometimes uncomfortable. That discomfort is part of its beauty. This is why silence is so important in love. Silence reveals what words hide. When two people cannot sit together in silence, attachment is doing the work. Conversation becomes a distraction. Noise becomes a cover. Silence is dangerous. In silence, fear has no place to hide. A woman once said to me, "When we are quiet together, I feel uneasy." I asked, "Why?" She said, "I don't know who we are without talking." Exactly. Love knows itself even without words. Attachment needs constant confirmation. It needs reminders. It needs reinforcement. Love does not need to be reminded it exists. It is. Most relationships fail not because people stop loving, but because they stop seeing. Seeing requires attention. Attention requires presence. Presence requires courage. The courage to face uncertainty. The courage to not know. The courage to let the other be. This is why love feels like standing without ground. No guarantees, no rails, just openness. Fear cannot survive there. So fear builds structures, schedules, rules, expectations. Love dismantles them. This is why children love easily. They have not learned possession yet. Watch a child with another child. They play fully, then they separate. No drama, no bargaining, no ownership. Adults call this immaturity. It is wisdom uncorrupted by fear. We teach children attachment. We teach them to cling. We reward dependency. Then we wonder why relationships suffocate. Love was never taught. Fear was. The mind is trained to secure. The heart knows how to share. That is the conflict inside every relationship. When the mind leads, love becomes strategy. When awareness leads, love becomes prayer. Prayer does not ask. Prayer opens. This is why meditation transforms relationships. Not because it teaches techniques, but because it removes fear. When you are at ease with yourself, you stop demanding. When you stop demanding, love appears. Not as effort, as fragrance. People ask, "How do I stop being attached?" You cannot stop it by will. Will belongs to the ego. Attachment dissolves only through seeing. Seeing without justification. Seeing without judgment. Seeing without excuses. The moment you see fear clearly, it loses authority. Not because you fought it, because it was exposed. Fear thrives in darkness. Awareness is light. Nothing else is needed. This is why love and meditation are not separate. Meditation removes the need to possess. Love flourishes where possession ends. This is the revolution, not in behavior, in consciousness, and until that changes, relationships repeat the same story. Different faces, same fear, same collapse. Only awareness breaks the cycle. Only courage allows love to remain alive. Most people believe passion fades because time passes. Time has nothing to do with it. Passion fades because attention disappears. In the beginning, attention is effortless. You look, you listen, you notice the other is new. The mind has not yet categorized them. Once categorization happens, attention collapses. You stop seeing the person. You start seeing your idea of them. That is the death of intimacy. The moment you say, I know you, love is already in danger. Knowing is the enemy of wonder. Wonder keeps love alive. Attachment wants familiarity. Love thrives on freshness. This is why people grow bored with those they live with and fascinated by strangers. Not because strangers are better, because they are unknown. The unknown wakes attention. The known dulls it. People think the solution is novelty, new partners, new excitement, new stimulation. They repeat the same cycle with different faces. The real solution is presence. Presence makes even the familiar mysterious again. Without presence, even the most exciting person becomes dull. This is why technology has damaged love so deeply. Not because of immorality, because of distraction. People sit together while scrolling elsewhere. Bodies are present, attention is absent. And attention is the currency of love. Where attention goes, energy flows. Where energy flows, intimacy grows. When attention fragments, love thins. You cannot love someone while half watching a screen. Love requires full arrival. This is uncomfortable for many, because full arrival means there is nowhere to escape. No distraction, no buffering, no background noise, just the other and yourself. This is why couples fight more now. Not because they are worse, because distraction has trained them to avoid depth. Depth exposes fear. Fear prefers shallow connection. Another story. A woman once told me, my husband is always present, but I feel alone. I asked, where is his attention? She said, everywhere except here. That is not presence. Presence is not physical. It is existential. Love recognizes presence instantly. It relaxes. Fear tightens. Watch your body. When love is present, the body softens. When attachment is present, the body braces. Control is always tense. Love is relaxed. People mistake intensity for love. Intensity is nervous energy. Love is grounded. Intensity burns quickly. Love burns steadily. This is why relationships based on drama feel passionate but exhaust fast. Drama is fear acting loudly. Silence is love resting deeply. Many couples are addicted to conflict, not because they enjoy pain, because conflict creates intensity. Intensity feels like aliveness, but it is artificial, like caffeine. Love does not need stimulation. It is nourishing by itself. The mind wants highs. The heart wants depth. Depth does not shout. It hums. Most people never stay long enough to hear it. They leave when things become quiet. They say, something is missing. What is missing is their ability to be present without excitement. Real love matures. It does not escalate, it deepens. Escalation belongs to addiction. Depth belongs to awareness. This is why relationships rooted in awareness grow more alive with time, not less. They lose drama, they gain intimacy, they lose urgency, they gain trust, they lose possession, they gain space. Space is essential. Without space, love suffocates. Space is not distance. Space is allowance. Allowance for moods, allowance for change, allowance for silence, allowance for individuality. Attachment wants sameness. Love allows evolution. When someone grows, attachment panics, love celebrates. This is one of the clearest signs. Ask yourself honestly, when your partner changes, do you feel threatened or curious? Threat means attachment. Curiosity means love. Attachment says, stay who you were. Love says, become who you are. That difference decides everything. Another subtle trap appears here. People confuse loyalty with stagnation. They believe staying the same proves devotion. It does not. Growth proves devotion because growth risks separation and only love risks. Fear clings, love moves. When two people grow together, love expands. When one grows and the other resists, attachment creates conflict. Most people choose comfort over growth. They shrink themselves to maintain proximity. They sacrifice truth to preserve connection. This creates resentment. Resentment poisons love slowly, quietly, without drama, until one day affection is gone and no one knows when it happened. Love requires honesty, not brutal honesty, living honesty, the honesty of being who you are without apology. This is frightening because honesty might create distance. Yes, but dishonesty guarantees emptiness. Better distance with truth than closeness with falsehood. This is why love requires courage, not romance. Courage. The courage to be seen, the courage to let the other see, the courage to change, the courage to let change happen. Most relationships collapse because neither side is brave enough. They negotiate comfort, they bargain identity, they trade aliveness for stability. Stability is not love, it is predictability. Love is unpredictable, not chaotic. Alive things move, dead things stay still. This is why marriage often becomes heavy, not because of commitment, because of fear masquerading as commitment. Commitment without freedom is imprisonment. Freedom without presence is avoidance. Love is where freedom and presence meet. That meeting is rare. It happens only when two people are rooted in themselves. Otherwise, they lean. Leaning becomes dependence. Dependence becomes control. Control kills love. This is a law, no exception. And it does not matter how spiritual the language becomes. Attachment can wear sacred robes. It can speak about devotion. It can quote scriptures. It can sound noble. but its smell is always fear. Love smells of ease. You feel lighter around love, heavier around attachment. The body never lies. Watch your body. It knows before your mind admits. Meditation sharpens this knowing. It makes you sensitive. Sensitivity is not weakness, it is intelligence. Insensitive people cling harder because they cannot feel. Sensitive people love softly because they can feel everything. This is why meditation is essential, not to improve relationships, to remove fear. When fear dissolves, love remains. Nothing else is required. And when love remains, it does not demand, it does not negotiate, it does not insist, it simply shares. This sharing is enough, not forever, not guaranteed, but alive. And aliveness is the only thing love ever wanted. There is something even more subtle that destroys love. It is not jealousy, it is not control, it is not fear, it is expectation. Expectation is invisible violence. It looks innocent, reasonable, even loving. But expectation is a demand placed on the future, and love has no future. The moment you expect, you stop seeing what is. You start measuring, comparing, waiting. Waiting is poison to love. Waiting says, you are not enough yet. You will be enough when you behave correctly. Expectation is always conditional. Love is not. This is why disappointment appears in relationships. Not because the other failed, because expectation existed. You expected them to understand. You expected them to remain consistent. You expected them to grow at your pace. You expected them to stay aligned with your image. Reality never cooperates with images. Reality is wild, living, unfinished. Love can meet reality. Expectation cannot. Expectation collapses when reality breathes. And then bitterness enters. Bitterness is disappointed expectation. People say, I gave so much and received so little. That is not love. That is investment. Love never keeps accounts. The moment you count, love has already left the room. Another story. A man once said to me, I have done everything for my wife. I asked him, did she ask for it? He was silent. I said, then it was not love, it was strategy. Giving to secure return is not generosity. It is manipulation with good manners. Love gives because it is overflowing, not because it wants insurance. Expectation turns relationships into courts of justice. Who did more? Who failed? Who owes whom? Love does not litigate, it dances. This is why forgiveness feels impossible in attachment-based relationships. Because forgiveness means letting go of expectation, letting go of the image you were holding. Most people would rather hold the image and lose love than drop the image and stay alive. Images feel safe. Life is uncertain. Love is uncertainty embraced. Another subtle point. People often say, love requires work. No, fear requires work. Love requires availability. Effort belongs to the ego. Love flows when ego relaxes. When people say relationships require effort, what they mean is repression. They are repressing impulses, repressing boredom, repressing curiosity, repressing desire, repressing truth. Repression exhausts. Love does not exhaust. If love feels heavy, something false is being carried. Truth is light, even when it hurts. Especially then, truth cuts clean. Falsehood rots slowly. Most relationships rot quietly. No explosion, no drama, just gradual numbness. People wake up one morning next to a stranger they know too well. This happens because presence was replaced with maintenance. Maintenance is not love. Maintenance is fear trying to preserve form. Love does not preserve form, it renews essence. This is why lovers who remain present feel newly met even after decades. And couples who abandon presence feel bored within months. Time is irrelevant. Attention is everything. Stay with me. Love is not a relationship. It is a state. You bring it with you or you don't. Another person cannot create it. They can only reflect it. If love disappears when the other leaves, it was attachment. Love stays even when the other is gone, not as longing, as warmth, as gratitude, as completion. Attachment leaves a hole, love leaves fullness. This is the test. When someone leaves your life, what remains? Emptiness? Anger? Resentment? Obsession? Or quiet appreciation? The residue reveals the truth. Attachment demands possession. Love leaves no trace of ownership. Another story. A woman came to me after her partner left. She said, "I feel empty." I asked, "Empty of whom?" She said, "Of myself." That is the whole problem. Love never removes you from yourself. Attachment does. Attachment replaces selfhood with dependency. Love deepens selfhood. It makes you more you. If you feel diminished in a relationship, love is not present. If you feel expanded, even in pain, love is alive. Pain does not disprove love. Contraction does. Growth can hurt. Shrinking always suffocates. People stay in shrinking relationships because they confuse pain with depth. Depth is spacious. Pain without space is imprisonment. Love always includes space. Enough to breathe, enough to move, enough to be silent, enough to be separate. Without separation, meeting has no meaning. Togetherness without separateness is collapse. Love meets at the edge of two holes. Attachment fuses fragments. Fragments cling. Holes meet. This is why meditation is essential. Meditation restores wholeness. It removes urgency. Urgency poisons love. Urgency says, now or never. Love has patience. Not waiting, patience. Patience is relaxed time. Waiting is tense time. Love exists only in this moment. This is why love feels timeless. Fear rushes. Love settles. Fear demands answers. Love lives the question. This is where trust appears, not belief. Trust. Trust does not mean certainty. Trust means openness to uncertainty. The capacity to not know and remain open. This is maturity. Children want guarantees. Adults tolerate uncertainty. Lovers embrace it. This is why love feels dangerous to the immature. They want promises. Love offers presence. Presence is fragile, alive, beautiful, and breakable. But only breakable things are real. Plastic does not break, nor does it live. People ask, how do I keep love alive? You cannot keep it. You can only stop killing it. Stop controlling. Stop expecting. Stop possessing. Stop fearing. What remains is love. Not dramatic, not loud, not intoxicating, but deep, steady, quietly radiant. This love does not shout. It does not prove itself. It does not need validation. It simply is. And in its being, something miraculous happens. You stop needing to be completed. And when need disappears, love finally arrives. Good. At a certain point, something simple must be seen. Love does not need improvement. Only obstruction must be removed. You have been taught to add things to love. Promises, rules, security, explanations. Love needs none of these. These are additions of fear. Fear always adds. Love subtracts. Fear says, let me make this safe. Love says nothing. It stays. And because it stays, it transforms. Look back honestly at your life. Notice how many times love did not fail. Fear entered first. Control entered. Expectation entered. Demand entered. Love was already living when conflict appeared. Conflict is only the visible smoke. Fear is the fire. Love does not argue. It does not negotiate its existence. It does not justify itself. It simply withdraws when the space becomes hostile. Like a bird, you cannot cage it and then ask why it stopped singing. Most people never lose love. They suffocate it. They sit on it with their need. They lean on it with their insecurity. They ask it to carry weight it was never meant to carry. Love is light. It cannot support your emptiness. Only awareness can. This is why love begins to feel fragile. Not because it is weak, because it refuses to become a crutch. Now see something uncomfortable. You are not afraid of losing the other. You are afraid of meeting yourself without distraction. The other person was a mirror, a shelter, a noise to avoid silence. When silence comes, panic comes. Attachment is fear pretending to be affection. Love is silence shared. Silence does not bind. It allows. This is why lovers who can sit quietly together are rare. They do not need to entertain each other. They do not need reassurance. They do not need constant contact. They are not afraid of gaps. Gaps are fertile. In gaps, truth breathes. Most relationships fear gaps. They fill them with talking, with checking, with explaining. Noise becomes protection, but noise slowly kills intimacy. Intimacy needs stillness. Now understand this clearly. Love does not promise continuity. It promises depth. Depth exists only now. Continuity belongs to time. Love belongs to presence. When you ask love to guarantee tomorrow, you remove it from today. This is the paradox. Those who cling lose. Those who allow receive. This is not a strategy. It cannot be practiced. The moment you try to use it, it becomes false. It must be seen. Seeing is enough. Seeing dissolves illusion. The moment you see fear as fear, it loosens. The moment you see attachment as attachment, it weakens. The moment you see control as violence, it drops. No effort required. Effort belongs to becoming. Love is not becoming, it is recognition. Recognition of what has always been true. You were never incomplete. You were distracted. You were never unlovable. You were unavailable to yourself. And unavailable people cannot love. They can only attach. When availability returns, love returns. Not as romance, not as intoxication, not as dependency, as clarity, as warmth without demand, as closeness without collapse, as intimacy without ownership. This love does not fear loss, because it does not possess. It does not say, "You are mine." It says nothing. It enjoys. It celebrates. It lets go. And if the other stays, it is a joy. If the other leaves, it is still complete. This is not detachment. This is freedom. Freedom does not mean absence of love. It means absence of fear. Now look again at your relationships, at your longings, at your disappointments. See where fear entered. See where expectation replaced presence. See where control replaced trust. Seeing is the turning point. Not effort, not discipline, not technique. Seeing. And when seeing happens, something relaxes. You no longer demand love. You allow it. You no longer chase connection. You become available, and availability is attractive, not to everyone, only to the real. This is why love becomes rare, because truth is rare. Most people prefer comfort to truth. Truth burns false structures. Love burns fear. This burning feels dangerous, but it is purification. And what remains afterward is simple, quiet, unremarkable, and deeply alive. Love that does not shout. Love that does not cling. Love that does not ask. Love that breathes. Love that allows. Love that is. You have spent your whole life building cages and calling them homes, forging chains and calling them commitments, creating prisons and calling them love. And now you wonder why you feel so alone. The truth is simple. The moment you try to possess love, you kill it. The moment you try to secure it, it escapes. The moment you demand it stay, it has already left. For most people, what they call love is only their fear of being alone. What they call devotion is only their need to control. What they call commitment is only their refusal to let life move. And the other person, the one you claim to love, was never truly seen by you. You saw only your need, your fear, your emptiness. You used them to fill a hole that can only be filled by your own awareness. And that is not love. It is a subtle kind of aggression, invisible, polite, wrapped in sweet words, but aggression nonetheless. Real love is the rarest thing in the world, not because people don't try, but because they try too hard. Love is not an achievement, it is a surrender, not to the other, but to life itself. When you stop grasping, love is already there. When you stop demanding, it flows. When you stop imprisoning, it stays. Not because you earned it, but because you allowed it. This is the secret. You cannot have love. You can only be loving. And being loving has nothing to do with the other person. It is your fragrance, your overflow, your gift to existence itself, whether anyone receives it or not, whether anyone stays or not, whether anyone loves you back or not. You keep loving, not as strategy. As nature, the flower does not ask if anyone is watching before it blooms. The sun does not demand payment before it shines. And you were never meant to beg for love. You were meant to be it. So stop trying to capture love. Stop trying to keep it. Stop trying to make it permanent. Just see clearly. What you have been calling love is not love at all. It is attachment, bondage, fear. See it, not to judge it, not to fix it. Just see it. And in that seeing, the cage door does not open. It dissolves. It was never there.